Hello all. Today we are discussing Meghalaya's journey from NFHS round 4 to NFHS round 5 in terms of reducing child malnutrition. How has the story unfolded overall? Meghalaya has done remarkably well in reducing the levels of undernutrition, particularly wasting and severe wasting. It has also bucked the national trend in case of anemia levels, both among children and women. It has shown improvement contrary to the national trend where anemia figures have worsened quite significantly between the two rounds. Yet, and puzzlingly so, the child mortality levels have deteriorated. They have deteriorated in the urban setting, they have deteriorated in the rural setting, and in all the three segments: under 5 mortality, infant mortality, and also the neonatal mortality. This is some way puzzling because normally one would have expected that the strong reduction in wasting and severe wasting particularly and reduction in anemia should go hand in hand with improved child mortality levels. We also see a considerable variation across the eastern and the western half of the state. And therefore it is important that we map Meghalaya's journey to stress the need for a decentralized planning within the state when we are trying to reduce the child malnutrition. In doing our analysis, as we have mentioned earlier in earlier episodes as well, that we are using two websites, NFHS4.indiagis.org and NFHS5.indiagis.org, which are very useful or user-friendly mapping sites. So viewers can go to these two sites, look at various other parameters in respect of Meghalaya or any other state that they want or all India level, and do their own analysis, draw their own conclusion. That will be quite useful. If you look at the overall picture, Meghalaya has performed better than the national average in underweight and wasting. This is not quite so in the case of stunting. But frankly speaking, Meghalaya's performance needs to be compared with the other states from Northeast. This is where the state needs to focus. And what we notice is that compared to other northeastern states, barring Assam of course, Meghalaya's performance is not so good compared to other states. And that is something which state needs to worry about. If you look at how the story has unfolded as far as underweight is concerned, there is improvement across the state. That's not doubted. Except these two districts, West Jaintia and Rivoi, you see those two districts on the NFHS 5 map in red. The data range has reduced at both the lower and upper end, but this reduction is rather modest, 18.2 to 14.1 and from 34 to 30.5. In underweight, this will be considered modest. We are using the same cutoff levels for NFHS4 as well as NFHS5 because we are comparing Meghalaya with itself. We are not comparing Meghalaya with say Mizoram or Meghalaya with Haryana. We are looking at what has the state done with respect to itself between the two rounds. So the cutoff range is same. If you look at stunting, we see this time worsening in the eastern half, while Rivoi and East Khasi Hills in the western part have improved. The data range in the case of stunting has worsened. It has worsened at both the ends. And this is a matter of worry from 16.8 to 29.8 and from 51 to 58. I think this is something which needs to be paid a closer attention as to what's happening in the state. We come to wasting. We see, as I had mentioned in the beginning, we see a remarkable improvement across the state. In fact, if you look at the data range from 9.4 and 36, it has come down modestly at the lower end, 7.6, but at the upper end, it has come down to 19. So no wonder if you use the same cutoff levels as NFHS4, you see a very sharp improvement. The eastern part has improved, but relatively less compared to the western part. And let's see if we see something similar in severe wasting. So when you come to severe wasting, there's a remarkable improvement again. There's only one district, South Garo Hills, but otherwise the state has shown considerable improvement. The data range has reduced modestly from 3.6 to 2.6, but to be fair, as the severe wasting levels go down, the reduction becomes more and more difficult. It's an uphill climb. We should notice the upper end. The reduction, not the improvement is very sharp from 23.7% children being severely wasted in NFHS4. It's now come down to 8.6. It's quite possible that this 23.7 may be an outlier, but still this 8.6 is something which is remarkable. So we have seen that the performance in severe wasting and wasting is quite good. If you look at child mortality, NFHS4 and NFHS5, there's a rise in child mortality in all the three segments: neonatal, infant, and under 5. Now, this has happened both in the rural and the urban sector. Now, this is a matter of concern. It's also somewhat puzzling given the sharp reduction in childhood wasting. And we'll also see later that anemia also the state has done fine, and so this kind of increase in mortality, particularly if you look at the urban segment from 16 to 23, is not something which infant mortality rate is not a good sign. Under 5 mortality from 43 to 42.6 is just twiddledum and twiddledee. Infant mortality has in fact gone up. If you look at neonatal mortality, and this is a matter of bigger worry, from 18.3, it hasn't come down, it's gone up to 19.8. Infant mortality has gone up. Under 5 mortality, even though very marginally, but it has gone up. That's not the direction child mortality should take, especially when the state has done better when it comes to wasting and severe wasting. Children in 6 to 59 months, anemia level has improved in the eastern half, deteriorated in the western half. But if you look at the data range, it has actually reduced at both ends. 33.3, from that it's come to 28.0, and from 75.4 at the higher end in the NFHS4, it has come to 61.3. That is clearly bucking the national trend, because if you have watched our other episodes, anemia levels in NFHS5 have shown a considerable deterioration. Of course, we have always said that this data needs to be seen a little more carefully. But the fact does remain that Meghalaya has bucked the national trend. The same pattern we will see when it comes to all women in the 15 to 49 age group. We see an improvement across, and here the data range is more or less same across both the surveys. It has modestly reduced. Again, I'm saying bucking the national trend, but you can see there is an improvement. There are a couple of small specks one can see which have not done well, but otherwise the state's performance is not too bad. The green belt has partly become yellow, but it's much better than the national level performance. Pregnant women in the 15 to 49 age group, again we are seeing improvement in the eastern half. Districts in the western half have not done well, even though the range has reduced. If you look at it, 27.9 has come down to 26.6. 67.5 has come down to 65. So this, which is very modest reduction. But again, as I said, if you look at the national trend of increase, then Meghalaya has bucked the trend. So how does the story unfold for Meghalaya overall? A remarkable decline in reducing the levels of undernutrition, particularly in wasting and severe wasting. But stunting needs attention. Meghalaya has bucked the national trend in the case of anemia, both among children and women in the reproductive age group, and pregnant women. Notwithstanding these two, the child mortality levels have deteriorated. And the matter of worry is it has deteriorated in the urban, it has deteriorated in the rural, and it has deteriorated in all the three segments: neonatal, infant, and under 5. Now, this should be a matter of concern, I would think, both at the state level and even at the central government's level. This needs to be looked at a little more closely. The good performance of the state notwithstanding, if you look at the overall picture in the northeastern state, the 7 sisters, and now, of course, with the addition of Sikkim, Meghalaya, like Assam, needs to catch up with the other 5 sisters. One would hope this happens by the next NFHS round. That's why this time we had not looked at its district performance in terms of how close it is to the WHO reference curve. We hope in NFHS next round we will look at the possibility of any of its districts catching up with the WHO reference curve and think in terms of Kuposhan, becoming Kuposhan Mukt. But for the time being, we leave the readers with this thought and move to analysis of some other states. Now we have very few states remaining, but yet we would like to complete the entire cycle. So do let us know how you find this analysis. Thank you very much.